Okay, question 5. The water vole was common in Scotland but has declined markedly in recent years due to habitat loss and predation by the American mink. A survey was carried out to estimate the population of water voles on a Scottish river system by counting the number of latrines, which are dropping sites, on a river bank at the water's edge. Water vole latrines are created as part of a territorial behaviour where a water vole will revisit the same site over and over again to deposit its droppings. And you've got a nice little picture of a water vole and an American mink. Okay, suggest one reason why counting latrines is an appropriate indirect sampling technique for water voles. Well, any indirect mechanism of sampling is really massively, I would say, your kind of standard one, is to minimise, yes, I have written that, minimising disturbance. I can't even write. Sorry, I've moved my angle, so that's not, there we go. Right, minimising. No, and then I've changed it to eraser. Minimising disturbance, okay? So if I minimise disturbance just by not being there, you know, you're not actively right up in their faces, okay? Minimising disruption. But you also, water voles are probably quite difficult to see. Right? So if they're ones that are difficult to spot in the first place, then that helps you as well. So elusive is the term that we're looking for that one, okay? Right, the survey team worked on a total of 518 kilometres using survey sites of 500 metres at 5 kilometre intervals along the river system. The number of latrines per kilometre of waterways was counted. Name the type of sampling used. This is systematic. Okay, because you're literally every 5 kilometres. Yeah. Right, all surveys were conducted in June, July and August of the same year. There was heavy rainfall for 3 days in August. In Scotland, I think we're doing quite well there. Any survey site too deep to walk into was omitted. The remains of one water vole that had been preyed upon were discovered at one survey site. Of the 92 sites sampled, only one site showed any latrines. Identify one aspect of the experimental design that shows high reliability. Okay, high reliability is just a decent number that we're sampling. Here we go, of the 92 sites. So if you say you've got a large sample, or a large number of samples, let's be more clear about that one. And you could also say that, you know, a total of 518 kilometres is a decent length. So high reliability, long length of the river sampled, and 92 sites, which is a good number. Okay, low reliability, well, the low reliability is the fact that they only actually managed to sample one site. Okay, so that's an issue. And you could argue as well that they were only using one section or one river system, so you would want to have an independent replicate of it. Okay, it was concluded that the water vole population on this river had become extremely low due to predation by the American mink. Give 2 reasons why this may not be a valid conclusion. Well, my first up is they've given me no information about the American mink. There's no data on the mink. And if they were showing a link with increased mink numbers and decreased water vole numbers, and then you could say, well, that looks to be a correlation, although being clear on the causation you'd have to work on. But there's nothing. There's no data on the mink at all. So I think that's kind of important. Okay, and then you're looking for reasons why it might not be valid. It's just when you look at this, there was issues, which just highlighted already with the only one, but they said any survey site too deep to walk into was omitted. So that means that they skipped sites. It also says probably heavy rainfall. Some of those sites must have been lost, like some of the latrines will be washed away. So they probably didn't get all of the data that they were looking for. And then the last one, which I hadn't even thought of until I checked the mark scheme on this one, they're like, oh no, this one as well. Using survey sites of 500 metres at 5 kilometre intervals. So yes, they were looking for 500 metres, but then it was another 4,500 metres before they looked again. So you've got the distance between sites. Okay, so the distance between checks. So that means that you could have missed some. Potentially just not logging because you didn't actually get into the areas that were too deep, and you also potentially have got some washed away. So overall your data set might be quite compromised by the fact it was rainy, and as I say, no data on the mink, and you're just looking to have 2 of those for the mark. And